welcome to Vapid Response. We're back. It's Opening Arguments,
Woo!
The podcast and YouTube show that helps you make sense of law in the news. I'm Thomas Smith. I'm nobody, but that's Matt Cameron. He's a real-life immigration attorney. How you doing, Matt?
I think you're somebody, Thomas. And,
Not true. Wrong. You're losing credibility with the audience, please.
Oh, no.
I mean, compared to the people we're going to talk about today, who aggressively just don't seem to want to understand anything, you're two of my favorite people who get things.
I will say, I think I'm qualified to run CBS News now.
Yes.
I guess
No doubt.
if the qualifications are now such that Bari Weiss can do it, then
Yeah.
you know, like I'm close. Which I shouldn't be close. I shouldn't be close to that qualification. And of course, producer Lydia Smith. How you doing?
Hello. I got a break again. You guys keep giving me like a week off every now and then, which is nice. But happy to be back.
Well, you temporarly turned into Jake
I
Tapper,
did.
which is a thing that happens.
It's an evolution,
You know,
right?
like
That we all
Teen
go
Wolf
through.
movie or whatever, where Michael J. Fox turns into a wolf and like plays basketball and stuff. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Lydia has that, but with Jake Tapper. It's been something we've dealt with.
It's very interesting.
This whole time. Yeah, it's taking some getting used to.
You can come back anytime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, only
Thanks.
when the full moon or whatever. Yeah. No, so excited to be with you. Ooh, and we're adding some features today. We're going to finally give our patrons at patreon.com/law who make the show happen at all, give them the shout outs they deserve again.
Yes. So happy to be back.
We're
with
getting organized. Excited to do that. Why don't you give us a little preview, folks, of what we're going to be covering before we take our first break, though?
Well, sure. We've got two pieces by two different people about two very different subjects. Theme here being people who just don't get it. So we got a piece about Bari Weiss taking over CBS and how that's just fine and she's going to do great. And then we've got another piece by the one and only Johnathan Turley, a singular legal mind, and I don't say that as a compliment, about
Remind us who that is. Who's Johnathan Turley?
What do you want to give it?
The lone conservative legal commentary voice. Basically, the guy that Fox News will always bring on to sweep everything Trump does under the rug. He won't say that that's what he does, but that's what he does.
Sure. And Congress brings him in for the same reason, actually.
Yes,
so
yes, exactly.
Very convenient.
Sane wash the Trump administration.
But yeah, he's here to tell us about why Antifa is very real and why we should all be afraid. So
yeah.
See how that goes. And then we have a returning character, Josh Hammer. You may remember from
who would have thought like we would have had Josh Hammer back on this?
I don't totally remember except the name triggered like instantly I was annoyed. Is that, I don't know.
That's accurate.
I'm like a psychic. I'm getting vague, really annoying fucking Ben Shapiro energy.
Yes, that's the one. We've got a real Aliens v. Predator, let them fight situation with Candace Owens and Josh Hammer. So got to hit that at the end.
At least the Predator had a moral code, right? One of them did, where they only fight people or something who can actually fight. So I think that's an insult to Predator to compare. All right, well, that's our agenda. Excited to get to it. So much to talk about in terms of Bari Weiss and everything.
I know.
But we're gonna take our first break, and as we do, I'm going to do our patron shoutouts. These are the Hall of Famers at patreon.com/law. I used to go in ascending order, but because I feel like, our top patrons need front billing, I'm going to go in descending order of like how amazing their value is as patrons, as humans
You've ranked them.
I've ranked them.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with Patreon. I just took a look at each of them. And I was like, okay, this is how...
this one's had good names, have made me laugh.
Eugenics is coming back, I feel like, so I'm kind of getting into that, No, this is in order of support and top patron, starting with Mitchell. Thank you to Classic Libtard, Fred R. Gruthius. Oh, and this, of course, is a chance for inside references and jokes, but we gave them no warning this time. So maybe next week when we shout them out or the week after. Fred Gruthius, Chris Waltrip, Big Easy Blasphemy, RonToTheDork.com, hors d'oeuvres in the court before we report.
Long-standing.
Milo Mead's song is Fighting Petty Tyrants. Malika Chandler, a string of unpronounceable characters. Corin Lan, please don't take that long of a break from reading patron names. Trying to make you laugh is basically all some of us have.
Well, thank you for that.
Anyway, rest in peace to that patron who no longer is with us.
They waited too long.
We took too long. But it was a nice thought. Philip Kaiser, Baltic elect Thomas Smith, President, American Honky Tonk Bar Association. Still don't know what that means, but I love it.
You're still not
Billy,
president. They've been
Basement
advocating
Bar
for you.
is busy organizing. Blah, Blah, Blah's Law podcast, and The Cincinnati Kid. That's our third of the Hall of Famers, and we'll do a third each break.
The top third.
That was the top third. It's all downhill from here.
33% of people in the world. Yeah.
By genes. No. Anyway, let's take that break, and then we're going to dig into it. Get some water. Okay. Well, folks, what annoying, awful thing do we want to start with this week?
Bari Weiss, of course. That's who we're going to start with.
Okay, this is where there's woke bread and butter, but also very appropriate for open arguments, I think.
It is. It's so funny. We were watching John Oliver this week, and I was like, man, he got ahead of like 3 different stories I was working on with this Bari Weiss news. So we're going to be focusing on this piece out of The Atlantic written by Caitlyn Flanagan.
Oh, there it is.
And before we get into the meat of the article here, I want to talk a tiny little bit about Caitlyn Flanagan. First of all, she is an anti-trans voice with The Atlantic. She'll say she's not an anti-trans voice, but she is.
I love The Atlantic, but do I have a false memory? I thought there was a time when it didn't have shitty writers. Maybe I'm misremembering, but it's at least right now, it's this weird dichotomy of some of the best writing there is, some of the best, journalism, and then the worst. I don't know why we do that. Why? Just do the one.
Viewpoint
not the other.
Diversity.
Yeah, that's right.
That's probably what it is.
DEI for conservatives.
Yeah. So in her claiming that she's not anti-trans, just a couple little tweets that I'm going to throw out here for people to consider. Last year, what a lot of trust we are placing in men, not in trans women, but in men. Suddenly, they have access to all sorts of women's-only spaces. All they have to say, if asked, is that they are women.
No. Doesn't exist.
And then just a few months ago.
Doesn't exist. Men could already pretend to be a janitor. They could pretend to be, they could wear a wig and not be trans.
They could just sneak in. They could sneak in and wait in the stall. I love the idea that this was some new thing because, trans people means men can go in bath. No, if there's some bad actor, and then their premise is that it's bad actor. Their premise isn't, some of them. Their premise is usually like, now this allows men to like pretend to be women. It's like, well, they could already done that. Like, haven't you seen Tootsie or whatever? Mrs. Doubtfire.
They could do that. You could just unless they think the previous social paradigm was if a woman looks at all like maybe they're masculine, you just wouldn't let them in a public bathroom. Like there's some hall monitor that does that. No, they already could do that. It's just the most made up problem.
Yeah. And then just a few months ago, kind of doubling down on this anti-trans rhetoric, trans people have existed throughout history. And until 5 minutes ago, none of them took puberty blockers. Cool.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
they weren't
so saying it's not something that people should have access to.
Yeah, it's like diabetics have existed forever, and until 5 minutes ago when insulin was invented. Invent new treatments for stuff, and it's good.
And there's so many articles that she's written with The Atlantic that I'm sure we could spend tons of time breaking down, but we don't have all that time today. So let me just leave with this regarding Caitlyn Flanagan. It's a family affair with the right. So her sister is married to Andrew Klavan of the Daily Wire, if you are familiar with the Daily Wire. No. And just the other day, her nephew, Spencer Klavan, Andrew Klavan's son, was named to the faculty at New College of Florida to teach classics, which Chris Rufo was basically having a wet dream over because that's what he's been wanting from the beginning was Hillsdale's model to be applied in public schools as well. And that's what it's looking is happening. And Spencer's husband is the Daily Wire's general counsel. So this is a whole little family affair very tied into the goings-on at the Daily Wire, Caitlyn Flanagan. So just if you're consuming her content, just consider that.
It's something we talk a lot about on Where There's Woke, the podcast where we do more of this kind of stuff. But as much as they've taken over our country, it really is like 5 people. It's very weird. There's not that many of them. And it actually makes sense because they have to fake, they have to bootstrap, they have to astroturf an entire conservative version of like law, of scholarship, of whatever. Right. And there just aren't that because, those things are wrong. There aren't a lot of conservative college professors because if you get an education, mostly you learn that being conservative is stupid. So there's not that many of them. So it fits that whenever we're looking at one, they are not 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. They are 1 Kevin Bacon away from every single other person in the movement. It's crazy. They are so tightly connected.
Yeah.
They're often worth more than Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
A lot of money in these things.
I'm trying to think. It's not really true of the left. I mean, yes, obviously there's insular media, but if you think of who we talk to. Like, we'll have an expert on our show, who's some professor that no one knows.
Yeah.
And they're not one connection away from fucking Barack Obama. They're not one connection away from AOC or from, I don't know who's I'm trying to think.
Hillary
like the
Clinton.
Young Turks. No, they're Fox News now.
Yeah.
Well, they are all Antifa members, as we're going to learn in the next
Well, that's a different story.
Let's
yeah, of course.
That, yeah.
But isn't that interesting? It's like it really is true of this right wing, because they've bootstrapped themselves into like a fake consensus, not even consensus, but like, at least you talked about it, Matt, when it was like, now they cover these legal theories as like, well, there's a fringe legal theory. Yep. And you point out like, no, it didn't exist. They just made it up now. And then they get to say like,
assign a label to it.
A minority view, and it's like, no, you just made it up right now.
It's really the equivalent of Chevron creating the Petroleum Institute or whatever and having that be the one voice against climate change, right? Like
It's
out there. One dentist who doesn't agree on the toothbrush or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just kind of tying it all back to Bari Weiss, Caitlyn Flanagan admits that she is friends with Bari Weiss, but not only is she friends with Bari Weiss.
That's the appropriate verb, yes.
Why do they let this? The Atlantic used to be something.
Not only that,
I'm writing a story about someone I really like, but you should still listen to it because no one else will write this because I'm the only person who would write something this stupid. Yeah. And somehow I have a job with the Atlantic.
There's also
she doesn't
professional.
Say that here, though. Does she?
She does. She does say that she's friends with Bari Weiss and her wife and her sister.
Yes, right.
But she does not disclaim in this article that she also has a professional interest too, because she's on the board of advisors for Bari Weiss's university.
Oh, wow.
University of Austin. And that's not disclosed
Doesn't
anywhere
disclose
in this.
that, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just want to get that out of the way.
The Atlantic actually would care about something like that.
I would think so too. Maybe I'll write a little letter.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into the article itself. It's pretty short.
Okay.
I think we can do the whole thing. Don't bet against Bari Weiss. The new editor-in-chief of CBS News triumphs over her critics. You could be forgiven for not knowing how much people love CBS News. I certainly didn't until a few weeks ago, but the hoary institution is once again being described as the Tiffany Network. Edward R. Murrow saying, quote, "Good night and good luck. Walter Cronkite taking the manliest moment in all of live television to get control of himself after announcing the death of John F. Kennedy. And the trail grows cold. Dan Rather in a turban." So the oddest paragraph.
This is so stupid.
So they're trying to set up a sarcasm. Look, I come to these things as the uninitiated listener usually. Is she trying to do the thing where it's like, can't believe all of a sudden everyone cares about this thing because all they have is like, they don't argue anything on the merit. They always just say, well, you leftists don't actually care about the thing you're talking about. But it's like, that's not even an argument. Like, we're just saying this thing. Is that what she's doing? Is it like you didn't actually care? And so then she does this like, oh, here's these historical moments. And then she's saying the last good one was when John F. Kennedy died or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that what the bit is?
Yeah, pretty much. And she's completely wrong. I mean, as somebody, again, I have most of a journalism degree. I'm an English major, but I almost got a double major. And I was almost going to be a journalist. And Casey's father actually is a pretty well-known journalist in Rhode Island. And he talks about CBS News all the time. I remember learning all about CBS News when I was doing journalism classes. Like they really were the gold standard.
60 Minutes is one of the last respected
absolutely
news shows like that, right?
And I mean, the idea like pretending that now you care about journalists, and she's really like showing that she doesn't know that much about journalism. She's supposed to be some kind of journalist, I guess. But I mean, if you're a journalist, it's like saying, "Oh, now you care about Mozart or you musicians, huh?" Okay. I mean, it's really like kind of that kind of standard, frankly.
So stupid.
Right, continuing on. I don't know, and neither do you, because it turns out that fans of the network were willing to do whatever it took to save the network, except watch CBS News. It's the least watched of all 3 little-watched network news programs. Each weeknight, a valiant struggle to report news that everyone's been refreshing all day long, or more likely not, because NATO and...
What?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
And close with a human interest piece like One Last Bedtime Story.
Online or something. What is that joke?
This is disjointed. I really don't know.
But now, cry havoc and write a hit piece, CBS News has been desecrated, a Slurpee sloshed on William Paley's Picasso. The network is owned by Paramount Skydance.
So much.
Paramount is now run by Larry Ellison's son, David, who also bought Bari Weiss's publication, The Free Press, and selected her as the new editor-in-chief of CBS News.
It is not good that no-talent ass clowns who happen to have $1 billion control our media? Why is that? I confess, I don't watch CBS News. I don't watch any network news. I think it's bad that one person controls an entire thing, or like a tight-knit group of billionaires, a smaller and smaller group of people are starting to control all of the news. I don't need to watch every fucking minute of CBS News to have an opinion about that. This all these fuckers do, because it's all grievance. That's never on the merit. It's always about how we don't actually care or something. It's just a waste of time argument. And she's so fucking smug about it. But she's so sure that she's caught us in our hypocrisy.
Notice the focus throughout this piece is on the finances of journalism and the business of journalism, not whether it's good or not, whether or not it's worthwhile. She's just saying that objectively as a product, nobody's watching CBS News because it's the most serious of the news networks. Nobody's watching a lot of serious news right now. It's, hard to get people to read and listen to the news. But, the idea that she's not talking about any of the structural problems that got us to the point, as you're saying, that these horrible people are now in charge of something that Bill Paley created. And to use William Paley's name in the same paragraph as Bari Weiss is offensive, frankly. But let's keep going.
Weiss is a hugely successful journalist and entrepreneur, and the target, especially from others within her field, of Bari Weiss derangement syndrome. Here we go. Weiss famously resigned from the New York Times in 2020. She'd been an opinion writer and editor after publishing a blistering letter of resignation enumerating the ways that the paper had abandoned the core principles that had made it great, the sharp line between opinion and reporting, and an approach to the news and editorial vision that wasn't prey to the whims or axioms of political ideology or popular sentiment.
I know it's been covered at this point now that John Oliver did it, but every single one of her colleagues was like, she's just lying about what's happening here. That's not happening. It's just fake. It's made up.
Got to note the New York Times thing. Do you know why, like, one of her big beefs when she was fired, or she left, rather? I think she was pushed out. But,
it was after the was it after the op-ed by Cotton saying we should do martial law. And now they're doing it. So
because whoever was running things at the time was fired, the op-ed person, and she was very mad about that because it was stupid.
Bennett, I think was his name.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, because that person brought in the valuable voices of Brett Stevens and Bari Weiss, people whose opinions we don't need. Nobody needs them, but it's DEI. It's affirmative action for people who are conservative. It's people who are completely untalented, have nothing interesting to say, and are just wrong constantly. But they do this thing where they're like, well, but we have to have that for some reason. We have to have diversity. We have to have wrong people say wrong things for some reason. That helps something. I don't know what it helps, but it helps something.
Yeah, man. Apparently, sufferers of BWD include, quote, everyone at CBS. They are freaking out. No, they're, quote, literally freaking out, a staffer told The Independent. Quote, it's not a good place right now. The Washington Post reported on Saturday that the network's journalists reeled as they digested the news. Although by yesterday morning, the Post had downgraded the mood at CBS to, per one employee, quote, noticeably uncomfortable with, quote, pockets of hopefulness. Both good signs.
You got different quotes from different people.
It's a big organization.
God, this is so fucking annoying. This is the most annoying writing.
Lazy.
Yeah. And she hasn't established that, like I know you're asserting that there's Bari Weiss derangement syndrome. I think you should have the S in there, but whatever.
Yes, please. Be consistent.
But like, you're asserting that, but you haven't established why people are wrong to be upset. You just said people are like, she's great because she had what did she even say? She just said like, well, she resigned for the New York Times.
Yep.
That's it. Okay. But now, here's all these quotes from people within the network who are like, fuck, this sucks. And she's like, yeah, look at these idiots. They're like, what? You haven't established why they're wrong. I would think that people who do the news at CBS, for one thing, those aren't, she started off talking about you and I and how we're hypocrites because we don't even watch it, but we don't care. It's one thing to make that claim. These are the people at CBS now you're claiming that are just full of shit. Yeah. You don't think they care about this for some reason? It's all a conspiracy. It's all conspiracy against fucking Bari Weiss.
Nowhere in this piece is she going to tell you why people have a problem with Bari Weiss.
Well, that's weird because that seems like pretty important to the thing you're writing about on The Atlantic, which is a real magazine.
Yeah.
Apparently, there is also anxiety about coming layoffs, an understandable fear, but a long-standing one. Weiss, her wife Nellie Bowles, and her sister Susie Weiss are the founders of the Free Press and close friends of mine, a friendship born when I met Bari over coffee when she was at the Times and learned that we share the same disgust at what has become of so much of the mainstream legacy press. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, the Times didn't reflect the truth. It was the truth. In school, we were always encouraged to read at least one front-page story a week in the San Francisco Chronicle, with the regular reminder that, as good as our local paper might be, it was a pale shadow of the great New York Times.
I don't think that's how anyone would teach that, but that's fine.
When I moved east and began reading the Times, the thought of doubting something it had reported was the furthest thing from my mind. Now I often have to shake the reported facts, which are almost always accurate, free from the omissions, biases, and willful imposition of narratives.
Hey, give me an example. Do you have an example? Give me one example.
Nope.
And she's talking about front page news, like not the opinion section.
Right.
It's not talking about, she's saying, no, the front page, essentially.
Also, as one of those annoying journalists that you're complaining about, the place to mention that you're good friends with Bari Weiss would be the first paragraph.
Or at the top, like very disclaimer. Immediately before your article began.
And this, again, it goes to the fucking DEI of, and I use that in their way disparagingly. Sure. This goes to the this is the actual version of what they think affirmative action is, which is this is not something that is publishable. Like this article is not usable, but like, because of our political situation and because we constantly have to go down and down and down to dig into the depths of idiocy to get a diversity of opinion, they're like, well, what do you have? Fucking idiot that we hire here for some reason. Oh, you have a love letter to a friend of yours?
Exactly.
Okay, I guess that's what we're putting in here this month.
Barely a blog post, but sure.
Stupid.
After Weiss left the Times in a blizzard of respect, but also of derision, she started a Substack.
Blizzard of respect.
It's quite a forecast.
Some say she was too good.
Blizzard of
Everyone saluted as she left. And
it was like two competing blizzards. There was a respect blizzard and a derision blizzard, and they're both like happening.
Blizzard of respect, but also of derision. Yeah, that's how does...
I don't know.
This is bad writing. You're bad at your job.
That'll show him. And it did. It became the Free Press, which currently has 1.5 million readers.
That part's
so
true. Yeah.
Here's the thing. 1.5 million readers. I'm one of those. And it's just because I have to, I subject myself to it, much for like work. Peter Shamshiri. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like he also subjects himself to this for work. And for which Paramount reportedly paid $150 million in cash and Paramount stock.
Well, that was their stupid decision.
This last fact may be driving as much of the hysteria as anyone's ideological beliefs. As Christopher Hitchens said in a different context, quote, "It's not just the principles, it's the money of the thing."
No. She's taking over CBS News. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't care that she couldn't.
Here's a little side note. So the owner of Paramount Skydance, David Ellison, his dad is Larry Ellison, huge Trump donor supporter, also the single largest personal contributor of financing to the IDF. Bari Weiss is very, pro-Israel. And so, watching the media companies kind of get bought up. He also is one of the major folks that's going to be owning TikTok when it becomes, an American entity. So the news that we're going to be seeing.
Do you watch all of TikTok? Do you watch it all? You can have an opinion on some guy owning everything unless you watch every TikTok. Lydia.
Now you care about TikTok.
Hypocrite.
Now I care about TikTok.
Fuck you.
So God. Just the new media of TikTok and where people like Gen Z, Gen Alpha are consuming their news content in addition to legacy outlets are going to be owned by the same person who is trying to just put out as much pro-Israel content as possible. And Bari Weiss is definitely the perfect voice for that. So something to keep in mind.
That's the kind of thing The Atlantic would have actually reported, I'm sure of it in the past. They're pretty middle of the road, but they still would have. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going.
Weiss's hiring at CBS isn't a reeling and digesting story. It's a business story. Everyone in journalism has known for years that there's been a huge opportunity for a publication that employs the traditional methods of U.S. journalism, reporting, deep sourcing, fact-checking, fearlessness, to subjects that either don't get covered enough or get covered only from a certain perspective. If creating such an enterprise seems simple to you, you don't know the territory. It's one of the hardest things you can attempt in media. It's hugely expensive, and it has to fight for space in the attention economy at a time when Americans' drive for knowledge seems to be powering down.
I actually don't. I think she's so far off in her own news bubble that I don't even know what she's responding to.
She doesn't care about news. She's talking about money, and she's saying, and I mean that last phrase and that last sentence tells you everything. That Americans aren't going to watch the news anymore, so it's time to get creative and figure out how to make money doing it. That's what I read
but
here.
It says there's been a huge opportunity for a publication. Okay, so it's saying there's a big opportunity. First off, what's a reeling and digesting story?
She's just commenting about the employees at CBS are reeling and digesting this news. Like those are some quotes that we read previously
But that's like a genre of story. I don't. Okay.
Reactions.
Yeah. She's saying like this isn't a story that you should be reeling over or having to digest. It's just a story about business.
Story? No, it's not. It's not a tech company being what?
And oftentimes the news that's happening within business, like they are stories that you need to reel over occasionally and digest over.
Yeah, there's a huge opportunity for so it's taking CBS News, and then pointing it at their pet grudges or whatever, and they're like, if you think that's simple, you don't know the territory. It's actually hard to do propaganda. It's not as easy as you think.
Yeah.
Fighting for space at a time when Americans' drive for knowledge seems to be powering down is such a depressing phrase. Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things. But
yeah.
But is there interest? Whatever. You know what? I'm not going to keep trying to understand it because we're already out of time for this segment.
Yeah. That she will somehow denigrate the storied CBS News. It has been reported that some staff members have delivered minatory instructions to not, quote, mess with the golden gooses of 60 Minutes and CBS News Sunday Morning.
Yeah.
As though West 57th Street were the OK Corral is a complete misreading of her and her vision, which is to bring the traditional methods of American journalism back to the news.
Again.
And also to build a culture of ideas.
You want to say Lydia and I, who don't watch CBS News, are hypocrites for caring. That's stupid, but fine. You're talking about the people there.
Yeah.
I think the people there know something about CBS News. Why is this idiot? Why does she think she's the expert on like I know better than the actual people, the employees who are like, this is bad. This is going to be bad for news. Mm-hmm. Why would this person know better? What is it about Caitlyn Flanagan that would give her the qualifications to know that everyone there and all of us are full of shit, but And not only are we full of shit, she doesn't even have to explain why. She just says
right.
Like, we have derangement. What? Because we're not looking at it as a business? That's not even a claim. That's nothing.
Well, she has to start with Bari Weiss is my friend, and people are upset that my friend is getting this job, and so I have to defend my friend.
This is not usable.
And make
Atlantic.
up stuff.
This is throw it away.
This is exactly what she's done at the Free Press, which covers a variety of stories, the most popular of which, Uri Berliner's explanation of NPR's decline, for example, are those that hold powerful institutions to account. This is exactly the kind of journalism that made CBS News so justly respected in its great era. Weiss's understanding of the network's role in the American imagination, both as a trustworthy source and as a holder of cultural continuity in a fractured time, is obvious in the opening of the letter she sent the staff yesterday. Quote, growing up, CBS was a deep family tradition. Whenever I hear that tick, 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 or that trumpet fanfare, it sends me right back to our den in Pittsburgh. I'm sure there are plenty of people at CBS News who aren't freaking out, but are excited about this turn of events.
Sure.
I haven't talked to them, but sure. They must exist.
Yeah. Not now.
Why are you sure of that? This is so stupid.
And you're just going to believe her letter. Okay.
Yeah. Not now, but soon enough, there will be major stories about the Free Press being the creation of 3 female founders who constructed a hugely successful digital business out of whole cloth.
Well, yeah. I mean, fine. Okay. They found billionaires who were interested in the sane-washing
Mark Andreessen.
of the anti-left stuff they were doing.
It's right-wing billionaires. Mark Andreessen.
I mean... There's a talent for it, sure.
Peter
but you're
Thiel.
Connected.
Yeah.
You already had the leg up in terms of having some name recognition, and then you did you sold out, or you already were sold out. I don't know before that, and you tell billionaire man children what they want to hear, so that it helps them ruin the country, and that's obviously valuable to them. So they pay you a lot of money. That's the end of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool that you have millions of dollars, Bari Weiss. It's cool. But it's at what cost? Like, that's bad. What you're doing is bad.
Yeah, there's
everything you're doing.
Actually, a quote I read in the New York Times from Matt Flagenhammer, who said, Bari Weiss has long been blessed with 2 superpowers, those close to her say. She knows how to make useful enemies, and she knows how to make useful friends.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's true. When there's a big media story like this, everybody eats. The haters write hateful stories. The hateful stories alert new readers to the existence of an outlet they might like.
The worthless Atlantic authors write a love letter to their friend and it gets published for some reason.
And instill in those readers a fierce loyalty to it because the criticism is so absurd.
No, it's not.
A current beef against Weiss is that she'll fail because she lacks broadcast experience. The beef against Weiss when she left the Times was that she would sink into obscurity.
No.
That wasn't it.
That wasn't. What are you talking about?
None of this is the beef.
I'm sad she's leaving because then she won't be as popular.
Yeah. Why would that be beef?
She shouldn't have ever been there. I'm fine with her. I'm glad she left. She sucked.
Yeah. And the beef against her when she started to become successful was that she was selling out. If there's one person in the world I wouldn't bet against now, it's Bari Weiss.
So...
Yeah, it really is like it is a business story, but I think we should care about this business story because I think it is indicative of a lot of things that are happening.
It's not a business story.
Well, I mean,
that's her. She's writing this she's just doing a switcheroo of what is important. We're not defining you and I. And the people who work in the newsroom of CBS News are not worried about the shareholder or whatever the fuck they're, the bottom line of the company. Yeah. They're like, hey, the quality of work could be down. And it might be true that Fox News is successful. There's propaganda networks are successful. I might be more worried actually about her being successful than I am about her failing. I'm kind of now hoping that CBS News as an entity fails now. Like that, it's not good because if it succeeds, that will mean more people are getting her distorted view, the anti-left view, like consistently anti-left, anti-trans, anti-whatever, pro-Israel, pro-genocide. That will mean more people are ingesting that. And that's bad. I don't care how much money it makes. I don't care. Like that doesn't matter.
Yeah, Slate actually wrote a great piece on this about Bari Weiss moving over to CBS and the Free Press being acquired. And they said that would be more understandable as a sheer business move if the Free Press were just any other site. But it's not. The newsletter is framed as honest and fearless, even as it carries water for some of the most powerful people in the country. But perhaps even more alarming to them is the journalistic sloppiness Weiss will bring, because it's a particular constant at the Free Press. After columnist Coleman Hughes' case for Derek Chauvin's innocence was thoroughly debunked repeatedly by Radley Balco, who just shout out to SIO 436. If anyone's looking to listen to Radley Balco tear down Coleman Hughes' retconning of George Floyd. That's a great piece. Weiss defended Hughes and merely asked Balco to debate the matter. Like that was her response to Balco saying like, hey, you're getting this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. You're repeating like undeniably incorrect pieces of information. None of that's true. And Hughes' original piece was never corrected or clarified.
Because they weren't doing journalism. They're doing blogging, opinion blogging.
Yep.
Right. And masquerades as journalism.
And to be clear, our beef, I just want to be very clear about this. Our beef is that we have read the Free Press. That is our beef with Bari Weiss. Among other things. But that's all it takes.
Yep. Slate also points out it's not just like fact checking that the Free Press had problems with. It also whitewashed RFK Jr.'s medical positions on a lot of things. Vinay Prasad used to be a contributor to the Free Press, and now he works for the Trump administration. You see a lot of those crossovers too. Charles Murray just had a piece published today on the Free Press about finding God and like why God is so important to him. I don't think we need pieces from Charles Murray. I don't think that's important. They also said that Andy Ngo was a straightforward journalist who covers far left extremism.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just things like that. Don't just take it from us. Media Bias Fact Check said, that they rate the Free Press as right center. I would say like, I'd probably say a little more right, especially on cultural and social issues. And then they, just outright rate them as mixed for factual reporting because it's not
the same
always
trick
accurate.
That they always do. The thing to think about is not right wing; it's anti-left.
Yeah.
Because they love to do their shtick where they're the only ones who know. It's somewhat enlightened centrism bullshit, but it's also just anti-left. Like it'll be even the things they agree with. For example, Bari Weiss is gay married, as they say.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. She can say that as like, oh, I'm a lesbian, so therefore I'm coming from this left place. Yeah, but you've helped people get rid of gay marriage.
Yeah.
So how valuable is your view there? Like how important is that? The things that you care about, the things that you attack are consistently left. So just saying you have a couple views that are left-wing doesn't do anything if all you're doing is harming the left at all times.
And your idea of an expose is chasing down pictures of starving Palestinian children and saying, actually, there are other health problems also.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the big stories this year.
Unbelievable evil things. I can't even. Yeah. I can't believe we live in an era where they tried to.
You can't stomach that. It's just.
That's my beef.
Inexcusable.
Like if you went back inside and I don't know. I guess make sure people know what we're talking about. The article that they did. Should I try just to show it? I guess for a second. But it's this article that's about the starving Palestinians actually also had like diseases and stuff, and so that was like this invalid thing. Do you have it?
I'm trying to find it.
Oh, nice.
They became symbols for Gazan starvation, but all 12 suffer from other health problems.
Here, I'll show look at this. Unbelievable.
That's coming soon to CBS News.
Yeah.
This level of journalism.
Free press investigation.
Yeah.
They lacked important context. There's also other things wrong with these people that Israel is starving.
That they aren't getting medical treatment for because the hospitals have been destroyed. Yeah.
Right.
It's incredible.
Or there was like an example where John Oliver pointed this out. There was a child that had an existing like brain injury. And it's because of an attack from Israel during the war.
Important context
and a missile
that makes
led
me
to
not
a brain injury.
Think this is as tragic as if they also have a brain injury from an attack by Israelis.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing where if you saw this out of the Third Reich, it wouldn't be surprising. It really wouldn't. Like to be taking pictures of starving children and being like, well, hold on, though. And the thing you're holding on, though, is that they also have other things wrong with them that are also a product of not having infrastructure, not having hospitals, not having any of the resources, living in an apartheid state.
Yeah.
Those are also bad things that Israel is doing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know.
Evil. It is the most evil thing. I am really stunned that this exists.
Yeah. And then Matt, a little more in your alley, the only piece that they ever did about Kilmar Abrego Garcia was, quote, no, the president has not defied a Supreme Court ruling.
Oh, good.
Saying, that he was not ordered to effectuate his return. He was ordered to facilitate it.
Thank you for that important. Wow, this perspective you can't get anywhere else. Literally can't get anywhere else because it's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally true, but come on. Okay.
No, it's because they're too afraid, Matt. They're too afraid to say the truth, which is a dumbass legal argument that no
every media outlet did actually cite the Supreme Court with that exact language you just said, but sure.
Yeah.
All right,
so we got to move on to the next thing, but
and shout out our patrons. Did you have another thing to say?
No, just keep your eyes peeled, folks. If you watch 60 Minutes, just keep in mind who's going to be behind the helm now. So
just don't watch it anymore.
Or just don't watch it. Yeah.
Who knows? I think people working there should try to make a stand. Yeah, I don't know. See what happens.
Keep doing journalism,
and then give it a good old try. Get some emails from Bari, and then go public when you quit, and be like, "This is the bullshit that she's doing."
Yeah.
All right. Well, taking a quick break, and that's brought to you by these amazing patrons. Patreon.com/law. Mark Schultz, Gavelhead, chucking away.
Yeah.
Gavel fan. E.T. Love the extra episodes. Chris Simpson, Fraud Fishy Hates Everything. Cajun Killer. I always say that wrong. I don't know why either. Thomas Freeman. Weird. This Patreon name is blinking. What happens if I... Oh, no. Even a blind squirrel can find these chunks. God, I love that one so much. It must be bad if Mac no longer has time to drum for Pearl Jam. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Rough.
I quit.
Cavalry. Vehicular man's laughter, simply mind blown that Eli of all people is objectively wrong on Spoonology. Well, we got some overlap from other shows.
Dear Old Dad's show. Yeah. Oh, Vehicular Man's Laughter is also running for office. So I got some inside scoop there. We'll probably get a patron name change now that these are back.
Okay.
So keep your eyes peeled for that.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Jay Sank. Well, they'll still be Vehicular Man's Laughter.
Vehicular Man's Laughter says
Jay
Sank,
you got to fight for your right to ex parte. And, I can't read this. Ibophobia. AIBOH phobia. What is that? I don't know. AI something? AI?
Write in and tell us.
We'll see. Well, we're going to take this quick break brought to you by those amazing folks. Join them at patreon.com/law, and we'll be right back. Okay, what's next, everybody?
All right, it's Turley time.
It's Turley time.
Our piece from Johnathan Turley. So this, again, is someone who is willfully not understanding the point or the assignment or what's going on at all. We've been talking a lot about Antifa and opening arguments, the concept of Antifa, and of course it's especially important right now because Trump just designated capital A Antifa a domestic terror organization, which Johnathan Turley has previously argued should not happen and does not mention in this piece, even though this is from
of course
yesterday.
Not. Yeah.
No, why would he mention it? Because that's a lot scarier than anything he's talking about here. And he has previously said that it's too amorphous and that you can't possibly define it as a domestic terror organization. But now he is just too overcome with fear of Antifa to not say something.
This is his whole shtick. He says one thing in a particular moment and then says the exact opposite and never recognizes his previous comments on it, pretends like they don't exist. Like he did this with the impeachment for Bill Clinton versus the impeachment for Donald Trump. It's just, I don't know. We see through this, Johnathan Turley. Be better.
Yeah. This is really like the Arizona State thing where I just want to send it to wherever he teaches. I don't remember right now. And this is incoherent. This piece is completely incoherent. It doesn't add up to anything.
Is he still at George Washington?
Probably. Yeah, that sounds right. I think he is. Yeah, that's right.
All right. So let's dig into this one. Antifa denial, how a violent anti-free speech group became a non-entity in American politics.
It's not an entity. So let's start there.
Isn't that already mean they're a non-entity, then what are we doing here?
Then why are you writing an article?
Free speech group. That's not... Okay.
Yeah.
We're all in denial.
So now this next part is the part that drives me the craziest. That should be at least put in italics. This is his preamble to his article. And for whatever reason, we get his explanation for his article. Below is my column on the rise of Antifa deniers in Washington.
Perfect start, buddy.
Once embraced and even marketed on the left, Antifa has become the group that must not be named as political violence rises across the country.
Yeah. There are advertisements, I'm sure, on, I'm trying to name a show. What's a left-wing show? I'm blanking. On a cable news show.
I was going to say Hunting Wives.
No, what's the name of the left-wing cable news show? Anyway, ads in between the commercial breaks. Brought to you by...
Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow. That's who I'm going for. Yeah. Antifa! Join Antifa now. Marketed on the left.
Exactly. It does not matter that radicals identify as Antifa, coordinate protests, carry Antifa flags, wear signature clothing, black, I guess, is the signature clothing, and espouse the same ideas from the Antifa handbook.
More in a minute.
There have even been people... Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, just note the capital A all the way through, because that is really making me crazy. There's no such thing as capital A Antifa. That's the thing that Trump designated a terrorist group. As he has said another time, it doesn't exist, not a thing. It is lower A Antifa because it is an ideology. It's a set of ideas for fighting fascism. Please keep going. Don't let me stop you.
There have even been people elected as Antifa representatives. Yet the current spin is to pretend that they do not exist as a single organization to deflect the debate over violence on the left. Even with the past and current FBI directors saying that they exist as a group, politicians are mocking those who object to Antifa, even journalists and others targeted by its members.
Look, I know I grew up in the 1800s, apparently, but didn't you used to have to provide an example of the thing you say? Oh. Do you just get to say things and that's it?
He will. They're not good examples.
Oh, okay.
He's going to provide some examples.
We're not in the column
We're not even
yet.
in his article.
So
we're in his his
is
little...
Is this like a historical column? It almost reads like, I'm bringing back this old one I wrote. Here's the column.
Would think. I don't think so.
Or was it published somewhere else? And
it was published somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why you get the
intro. So then he brought it over into his blog.
It was published recently.
Got some more things to say about it.
Okay. Why doesn't he just link it? Okay, let's see. This week, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison claimed that nobody knows what the left-wing terrorist organization Antifa is and that it does not exist. However, he previously promoted the Antifa handbook in 2018 and praised the group as terrifying Trump. Now, however, he has joined the chorus of Antifa denials as political violence rises around the country.
Okay, I
Here
just have to say
is the column.
Yeah, there we go. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Here is the column. Now I'm going to start. You've just watched 5 minutes of the movie. Here's the credits. But I don't. Okay, just to make this point, because the Antifa handbook will come again. Mark Bray, who wrote the Antifa handbook, and it is very important that everybody understand. Mark Bray just had to flee the United States. He now lives in Spain as of this week.
Right.
The Antifa handbook is not an actual handbook. It is a history book because Mark Bray is an historian. Now, he does interview activists and talk about tactics that have worked because, again, Antifa is a set of tactics. It's a set of ideas that have worked historically to stop the rise of violent right-wing extremism. And that violence is actually pretty much the end of the list of the tactics. And if it is violence, it's almost always going to be self-defense. People show up prepared to defend protest, to defend themselves. Just want to make that point before we keep going.
Yeah. Roughly 70 years ago, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover famously declared, quote, "There is no organized crime in America." Hoover's stubborn denial of the existence of the mafia continued despite ample evidence to the contrary, from arrests to congressional testimony. Many have speculated on why Hoover maintained his stubborn denial. Perhaps, they say, he was trying to avoid the political embarrassment of long ignoring the single largest criminal network in the country.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to say this. We know why Hoover denied that the mafia existed. And he did. It was very famous. Like he openly for decades pretended it didn't exist because he was being blackmailed by Roy Cohn, who knew that he was gay, among other things.
Oh, really?
And Roy Cohn, Trump's favorite lawyer.
Yeah, I was going to say like the Roy Cohn,
Roy Cohn?
Yes, the Roy Cohn.
As portrayed by, what's his face from Succession?
Sebastian Stan, right?
Sebastian Stan was Trump.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I need to see it. But generally speaking, though, this is so wildly off. Like, this is pretty much the historical record that Roy Cohn had dirt on. And that like people commented for years about why isn't he saying anything about the mafia until he absolutely had to.
Interesting.
And to make his point, he can't, of course, acknowledge that Roy Cohn blackmailed him because that would undercut everything. So I'm sure he knows that, but anyway.
Many...
But also, how's it related to this? Oh,
maybe you'll find out.
He'll finish this thought.
Yeah.
Many today seem to be adopting a Hoover-esque willful blindness about another violent group, Antifa.
Well, to be fair, we are all being blackmailed by Antifa. I don't know. There's somebody related
I don't
to
know. Antifa's lawyer. Yeah. Politicians and pundits are denying that the left-wing anarchist group exists, mocking President Trump's designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization.
Yes. True.
As often
Agree
as possible.
with that sentence.
Representative Dan Goldman of New York seemed to morph into Hoover before our very eyes, including a posting in which he challenged anyone to, quote, name one member of Antifa.
Yeah. Okay. And so
did anyone name one?
Yeah.
Did we get any?
You would think if you're making that big point, you could be like, here's one. I'll do it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will point out Goldman was, I believe, one of the lawyers on one of the Trump impeachments, which Turley participated in. So there might be some personal beef here.
Oh, interesting. Former House Judiciary Chair Gerald Nadler of New York was widely ridiculed for denying the existence of Antifa. Others on the left have joined Goldman in this absurd claim. Late-night host Jimmy Kimmel committed part of his monologue to assure viewers that Antifa is no more than a mythical chupacabra. Quote, "You understand there is no Antifa," he said. "This is an entirely made-up organization. I have testified about Antifa before Congress, run columns on the organization for over a decade, and wrote a book discussing Antifa. I did oppose declaring Antifa a terrorist organization due to free speech concerns, but I also know that it is very real." By design...
So it was a principled stand. Okay.
By design, Antifa avoids typical leadership hierarchies and organizational structures. Yeah. Antifa was first created in the 1920s, associated with the Weimar-era German communist group. And Matt, I'm going to turn to you. Please pronounce that.
Antifascist Aktion. I don't know. But I will say, this is where I have to bring in the goose meme, the goose following you around. Which fascist group were they opposing, Johnathan? In the Weimar era, which ones do you think they were standing against? They were, to be fair, they were also opposing the Social Democrats because they thought that at the time, the equivalent of the Democratic Party in Germany was not doing enough to stop fascism, which is correct.
It is easy to satisfy Goldman's demand in naming some members since they self-identify as members of Antifa. One such student came from my campus and proclaimed that Antifa was winning after his arrest for property destruction.
Okay, there's one. Got one. Property destruction.
When another radical was arrested for taking an axe to a congressional office, he self-identified as a member of Antifa.
Also property destruction?
What is he linking to this?
It's like they could have also self-identified as communists.
Or Satanists.
So you wouldn't be like, okay, communism is a terrorist organization. Like, what? That doesn't make sense, right?
That's actually an organization. There is an American Communist Party. That exists. You can have a card.
Not what I said. I said
I
communism.
know. I'm just making the point.
As a thing. Yeah, like if there were a registered organization such as Antifa, then maybe that would be the same. But it's like taking the ideology itself and saying like that means this is a terrorist organization. They're identifying as part of a like movement and an ideology, right? And they might do things among themselves in a way, but unless you can find like an organized like cell that's doing terrorism, I mean, maybe that exists. Maybe there's like some group that's doing something anti-fascist in a way that, you know, could look like that, but the whole all of Antifa is like, that's hard to do.
This is his chance. And you'll notice, I'm just going to spoil this, he's not going to talk about anybody getting killed or even really harmed. In any of these examples.
This notable guy with the axe, I just clicked on it. It was a single charge of destruction of government property, and he uses this case to basically excuse what happened on January 6th.
It was Fargo, North Dakota.
Fargo, North Dakota.
Okay. This is not,
No one even cares about the government there.
Yeah.
The student, I should add, the 20-year-old he's talking about in his campus, that was he destroyed a statue of Andrew Jackson, who probably shouldn't have a statue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Before Kyle Benjamin Douglas Calvert, 26, implanted an IED device outside of Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall's office in downtown Montgomery, he put up stickers reading, quote, "Support your local Antifa."
Very important detail. That IED device was put, and again, I'm not saying you should do this, but it was put at 3:42 in the morning and exploded clearly at a time when they didn't know.
When no one was going to be there.
This is weather underground type stuff. Again, this is not, I'm trying to draw a line. Obviously, there's a big difference between putting an IED out in the middle of the street, on a Saturday and early in the morning. I just want to point that out. But again, these are such isolated examples.
Yeah, and I just think if you want to go down this route, I think you were actually serious, because I can imagine trying to concoct a definition of this that, you might be worried about if you're law enforcement, I guess, in certain situations.
Yeah.
If there's groups. But you would overwhelmingly first want to look at, okay, what about these incel groups that are doing mass shootings, at quite the clip.
Right.
And those kind of organizations are much more harmful. And they're not really organizations, but those kinds of and again, it's a weird comparison. It's like a group of like-minded people who are doing a similar thing, but they're not in an official organization kind of similar
besides
to Antifa.
Looking at the same websites, right?
But,
that's the most organized it is.
But the incel, that whole culture, that is way more harmful.
Yeah.
You'd want to look at that first before this.
I will point out the Cato Institute immediately after the Charlie Kirk shooting put out good numbers on ideological violence. And, just to make the point, anything that could be tied to left-wing violence is about 22% of all of it, and anything tied to right-wing violence is 54%. So I think that is notable as well.
Is the rest the centrists?
Yeah, violent centrists. Yeah.
They're just I'm doing a little terrorism from both sides,
Numerous Antifa members have been arrested, including some who claim to be journalists. Many protesters belong to Antifa groups that have names like Rose City Antifa and offshoots like Love and Rage and Mexico's Amor y Rabia. Antifa members have been elected to the French and European parliaments.
Wow, it's an international,
I guess,
a transnational terrorist organization.
Rutgers professor Mark Bray's Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, called by some the Antifa Bible, explains that the group is united in its opposition to free speech. Quote, "Most Americans in Antifa have been anarchists or anti-authoritarian communists," he writes. "From that standpoint, free speech as such is merely a bourgeois fantasy unworthy of consideration."
So I haven't read the book. That sounds like it's out of context, but I just want to point it again. I think it would be only fair that he mentioned that Mark Bray was just driven out of the United States because of people associated with Turning Point USA who harassed him until he had to leave the country. One of the first American political refugees, not the last, unfortunately.
Yeah, and what did he do, Matt? Did he kill somebody, or was it speech?
He wrote a book. And I just want to point out, too, Rose City Antifa is a legendary group. It actually was originally founded in 2007, but originally came out of an anti-racist action group. And there's a great interview, which I'm going to link to, with Kelly Hayes.
Out of Portland? Is that right?
Originally, yeah. And but their whole thing was opposing, because at the time in the 80s and 90s, there was a real skinhead problem in Portland. Yeah. And they organized to keep skinheads out of public places, which is a really good idea.
Right. And now they all are dressed up like cops, so it's fine.
Right. But there's so much you can find out there about what happens if you let a couple of skinheads into your bar. It becomes a skinhead bar. It doesn't take long. The whole strategy for these people is to take places over. And that's the Nazi strategy generally, right? Is you don't have two sides. You just try to take over. And the Nazis always said they would do that. And that's why we have to have. And
they come in pretending it's about free speech often. Right. They're like, oh, you can't handle our argument and you can't handle hearing, I brought it up before, but in the 1930s Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden that we covered on WTW, literally that fucking Nazi makes a speech. The guy who, the MC of it, the MC Nazi is like, yeah, they can't handle our arguments. They're going to respond to our, it's the same free speech shit that we hear now. It's the same. Yeah. It's just a natural tactic that people with awful, shitty views will do because they can't argue Nazism. They're not going to say they're not going to say you should all be Nazis. They're going to first say, you should be open to hearing different ideas. And it's just so obviously how they would do it. And I'm like, just stop falling for it.
Yeah.
It's not real.
The actual history of Antifa in America is rooted in anti-racism and opposing the kinds of people that try to take over these spaces. I think it's
and the point I was trying to make before is like, look, I don't know these groups. If it happened that one of those groups did like terrorism or something like regularly, okay, you could say that group might be a terrorist group. Like if they just happen to be, but you can't say Antifa is a terrorist group. It doesn't make sense, right? It'd be like saying communism is a terrorist group.
Right. Law enforcement officials like former FBI Director Christopher Wray have long debunked the deniers like Goldman. Antifa is a real thing, said Wray.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to know the rest of that quote?
Yeah, tell me the rest.
We do a debunk on Dub-T-Dub. It takes like 8 hours. But we can just say like, no, not true. Done.
I'm going to rebunk this one.
Oh, okay.
So this is Christopher Wray's testimony, very famously in front of Congress in 2020. Here's the whole quote. Antifa is a real thing. It's not a group or an organization. It's a movement. Or an ideology, maybe one way to think of it. Yep.
That sure is bad for the point you're making.
Yeah. I wonder why you cut it off there, Turley.
Yeah, that's weird.
So he's making the point that like they watch people who identify as this because there is the potential maybe for some of these people. And like the German government, other European governments watch Antifa too, but they don't see it quite the same way. They see it as like a partially like potential. All of these things have potential to go the wrong way. But I just want to stress that the Antifa tactics are rooted in self-defense. That's the idea, and defending communities.
Right.
Yeah, and I, I'm not going to pretend, like you mentioned with the skinhead thing, there is an aspect to it that is, don't even let them take root. Yeah. Like, don't. So there is like a proactive thing there. And there are members of Antifa who are willing to commit an amount of violence against Nazis because they have a belief that I think is correct, that there's no such thing as a peaceful Nazi. Mm-hmm. You cannot be like, I think that this is something that maybe, I don't know, maybe people listening will disagree with. I know a lot of people view speech as a firm designation that is fine, and then not anything that's action is like, that's a different thing, and speech can't be violence. But I think if you have a view that certain people in our society should be rounded up and killed, that's violence. Like just having that view. I'm not interested in peaceful coexistence with someone who has that view, because it is the paradox of tolerance. And that is a real thing. And you can't be tolerant of intolerance. You just can't. Mm.
And at the very least, people should know who their neighbors are. And like, if it turns out that like Hitler Lover 69 is, this is one thing they do, right? Is doxing people, exposing people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If he's running your local Chevron station, maybe you want to know that, not go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the way to not have this be a problem is don't be a Nazi. That's the first easiest way to do it.
You won't be exposed.
Yeah.
Ironically, when many on the left are not denying its existence, they are rallying their members or actually selling Antifa merchandise. Former Democratic National Committee Deputy Chair Keith Ellison, now the Minnesota Attorney General, proclaimed that Antifa would, quote, strike fear in the heart of Trump.
His own son. Say that. What he said was that
quote, though.
He said the Antifa handbook, he's holding a picture of the handbook in the tweet, is going to strike fear in the heart of Donald Trump because it's such effective organizing tactics.
Is that what he's saying that the Antifa merchandise is too? Like with him
no, that is actually, of all people, Pod Save America was selling like Antifa onesies.
Oh,
like
as a joke. Yeah. Clearly a joke. Let's see. His own son, Minneapolis City Council member Jeremiah Ellison, declared his allegiance to Antifa in the heat of the protest this summer.
Oh, man, you got a debunk for that one?
Also didn't do that. I can read you the tweet. I hereby declare officially my support for Antifa. It's obviously a joke. Unless someone can prove to me Antifa is behind the burning of Black and immigrant-owned businesses in my ward, I'll keep focusing on stopping the white power terrorists in caps that are actually attacking us.
Yeah.
So this is in response to Trump trying to declare Antifa a terrorist organization in 2020.
Sure seems like missing important context / the rest of a bunch of quotes. This guy's MO.
Yep. It's his deal.
But with Antifa violence on the rise, Democratic leaders have gone back to denying its existence, even as Antifa deploys its signature black hoodies and masks.
All right, but I think you need to look at the context that violence is on the rise. So
yeah.
Antifa is gonna,
We're not talking about the
there's a bunch more protons It's like, yeah, well.
You said pho, and my mind went to like the Vietnamese noodle dish, and I was not processing.
It's time we put an end to the violence.
I am pro pho. I will go on record for that.
I'm also pro pho, if that's what we're talking about.
But I also, very quickly, will point out that the black thing, so people are terrified even of black, which is sort of the more radical and more like willing to use violence. And again, usually almost always in self-defense at protests, but that signature black hoodies and mask thing, it's a very, very small percentage of people who identify as Antifa that will even do that. You have to be pretty brave.
Indeed, some liberal activists admit to having coordinated violent protests with Antifa groups. For example, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill professor Dwayne Dixon was a member of the radical gun club Redneck Revolt, a group recently referenced in flyers quoting the assassin of Charlie Kirk to rally the left. The flyers read, "Hey fascist, catch, the only political group that celebrates when Nazis die."
Okay, celebrating someone dying is different than committing murder. Can I just say? If it's true that this radical gun club, Redneck Revolt, is committing murders, I don't know anything about them. Maybe they are.
They're not.
They are a motorcycle gang of murderers that goes around terrorizing people, then that's a different story. If they're just like, hey, we're glad that this Nazi died, that's not a crime. That's speech, actually.
Yeah, that is speech, yeah. During a panel at Harvard University, Dixon reportedly admitted that an Antifa-linked group requested his gun club to provide security during the August 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Quote, prior to that day, as the planning for the defense of Charlottesville proceeded, the local anarchist People of Color Collective had requested that Redneck Revolt be present to secure Justice Park for a wide variety of activists who were expected to assemble.
Hey, Johnathan, why do you think they need to have armed security at these things? Maybe because the Proud Boys exist and all these other groups that are showing up ready for violence?
During the Unite the Right rally?
Yeah, so...
I'm not understanding this.
So this guy, well, he's saying an Antifa-linked group was asking for his club to provide security. So, like,
for
recognizing, like,
a counter
and like, and this is truly an organized group because, look, they called me and they said, hey, we need your
support. Once again,
support.
It says Antifa-linked group. It doesn't say
Antifa. Yeah.
Nope.
Registered
and
corporate headquarters.
EIN.
And somebody died that day. I mean, and more people could have died. Like, and there's reporting that, like, the hardcore right-wing Nazi types were like cowed somewhat by the fact that there were defenders there to defend the counter-protesters.
Yeah.
These people are showing up armed.
Yeah, it's weird that it's called the Unite the Right rally. It's not called the Kill the Right rally, Anti-the-Fa rally. It's called Unite the Right. And so it seems like that wasn't really their whole doing, right? I mean, did Antifa put on the Unite the Right rally? That's what I'm asking. Are they the ones doing that?
They didn't kill Heather Heyer.
The denial of the existence of an actual group is meant to deflect the discussion of the rising violence from the left as these same politicians fuel the rage with reckless rhetoric. But they're not so good at keeping their story straight. It's funny coming from you, Johnathan Turley. While whipping up the mob with claims that democracy is dying and comparing their opponents to Nazis, they deny the existence of the very group that politicians like Ellison praise for targeting conservatives. I was pausing to see if you guys had.
Well, I wasn't sure if he had an example or if he's just.
No, that's where that paragraph ends.
Oh, it's almost over. Thank God.
Hoover declined to admit the mafia existed until on November 14th, 1957, dozens of mobsters were found meeting in a farmhouse in Appalachian, New York. What is different is that Antifa has repeatedly had such farmhouse moments, with prosecutions revealing a national movement with self-identified members.
What? Show me one prosecution.
There's no link there. He's linked to other things.
That meeting in Appalachian New York was extremely famous, like major leaders of organized crime. If there was even an online meeting, a Zoom meeting that has been exposed, please let me know.
Yeah.
So why the denial? These are the shock troops for some politicians who think that they can use the violent group for political advantage. They are mistaken. Antifa is unlikely to have much use for establishment liberals once it gains more power.
Once it gains power. The idea they want power, that's what it exists for. Anarchists. They just want to take over everything. But this is a defensive group.
Until then, Antifa can count on the Goldmans of the world to give them cover in denying that they exist. In the film The Usual Suspects, the character Verbal Kent offered this explanation for the invisible villain Kaiser Soze. Quote, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he did not exist. Great.
Second time, by the way, that he's compared Antifa to The Usual Suspects. I don't know why he likes this quote so much. That quote also is weird, not,
also,
it's not original.
Fun trivia fact: the devil doesn't exist. So kind of similar. Yeah,
I'm convinced.
Fiction. Yeah,
but also that quote goes back to like the 1850s. That is not something that was written in The Usual Suspects. But, sure. So thanks a lot, Johnathan. I've learned nothing here. I don't even know what you're trying to say. And honestly, we were not going to do it. We could go back and read his previous column about Antifa where he explains in detail about why they're not a group and why they shouldn't be held accountable as a domestic terror organization.
Really?
But that was just like last year. So,
Well, that was the thing he hand waved off as well, free speech concerns.
Yeah.
So you're saying it was more than just that?
Yeah, no, well, he was giving the same problems that we give, that it's too amorphous and you're going to have a lot of people caught up in this thing because it doesn't exist. But that was then. We can link to it. People can read it for themselves.
Yeah, but I haven't read it, and I like that he did think to say, "Hey, I did do that, right?" He referenced it. And
he did reference it. Mm-hmm.
That's for free. I did oppose declaring Antifa terror due to free speech concerns. Okay, what changed? I wonder.
Between
free
now
speech
and
doesn't
June,
exist anymore.
That was June 4th, 2020.
We don't care about the.
Oh, that was in 2020.
Yeah.
Now that we don't care about the First Amendment as much, I guess it's fine now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are we taking our final quick break here?
Yeah.
Give me away. Got a fun amuse douche, maybe? No, that goes in the beginning, huh? We need a different name for this, I guess.
A dessert douche. Yeah. Douchey dessert.
Matt, do you have anything good for us?
Whatever. I thought you were making fun of my thing. Oh, you are.
Well, I think we need a better idea. While I read patron names, Matt, come up with a better idea.
I think
this final break, or not the break itself, but the stuff coming after the break, brought to you by these amazing patrons. Our last batch of Hall of Famers at patreon.com/law. A Negative Phenomenon, Deep in the Bloops, Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer, Nick Fish, David Souther.
We just saw Nick Fish.
Oh, yeah.
By the way.
Awesome.
Shout out to Nick Fish.
Fun.
Yeah.
Probably a real person. Apprentice of Adventure, Fourth Circuit attorney reluctantly changing her font. Charlie Kelly, attorney at Bird Law. Normalize bidirectional spooning. Yeah, damn right.
That's another dad's
reference.
Yeah.
Cyonitis. Do geese see God? Ooh, that's a palindrome.
Palindrome, yeah.
Mike Lipinski. Protect trans kids. Deep Space Nine was the best Star Trek. Donna Treadaway. That's common. Two different thoughts, I think, but still related. Donna Treadaway, Mother of Harridans, Unremarkable, and Veterinary for America 2028, One Man, One Vote. I don't know what that is. What is that, man?
It's the patrician from the Discworld books. Veterinarian, one of the better characters.
Ah, okay. Cool. Well, I didn't know that. I'm glad
I didn't know that either. You should have heard Thomas and I stumble over that name in patron shoutouts past.
Yeah.
Because we did not know the reference.
I'm so glad we have you for these now. Again. It's nice. All right. Final quick break, and then we're going to get to Candace Owens and
Josh Hammer.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Are we ever?
Okay.
Yeah. I want to call this
Where do we begin?
Some kind of digestive. I'm playing with digestive. I haven't come up with it yet. But so...
Digestive. I don't know.
Yeah. So we're going to watch a quick video of Josh Hammer. Again, one of the editors at large of Newsweek, the opinion editor at Newsweek, rather. One of the people that we identified as making Newsweek a lot worse, personally. And he's used to be with any number of conservative organizations. I think he at some point probably knew or was friends with Candace Owens. He's obviously in some kind of group chat with her. That's how those came all about. But some kind of nutty stuff is going to come out here about their fight. So I have some timestamps if you want to pull up. And we're going to have to listen to Josh Hammer. And I do have to give special thanks to Olivia for actually watching this because I don't want to watch it more than once.
Candace Owens' video was over an hour. Basically like her conspiracy-minded theories about what's happening here.
This all has to do with Charlie Kirk.
2-point-something million people watched that particular video.
I don't know. I think it's one billionaire in a trench coat. No, that doesn't make sense.
Like a bot farm, just pressing
one
play.
Billionaire with a bunch of bots in a trench coat.
Yeah.
All right. Give me the time.
154 is where we're going to start.
Okay.
Just to set this up.
God, I fucking hate this guy. Oh, you set it up?
No, just to set it up.
Gotcha. Sure. Okay. Any other ways I can avoid pushing play on this?
Do it.
Okay.
And lo and behold, I turn my phone back on to see that I am at the epicenter.
Did someone chipmunks his voice? Like, did they?
An insane Candace Owens neo-Nazi conspiracy theory. Candace Owens doubling down on now a month-long of lunatic allegations that the Jewish people, the Jews, the state of Israel, all the above, individual Jews, collective Jews, Jewish nation, whatever, just Jews in general, had something to do with the horrific assassination of my friend.
Talk faster. I can't do this.
No, pause.
Fuck,
That's our intro. So that's what we have going on here is that Candace Owens is kind of implying that there are other forces at play that got Charlie Kirk assassinated.
Yeah. Wait, why do we have to play something where he's correct to be mad about this? You know, like I don't want to agree with this guy. Fuck that. Hate it. Why are you doing this to me?
I know. All right, so let's kind of get into specifically what's how she is pulling in Josh Hammer into this conspiracy. So that's 1225.
Oh, good. That gets us pretty far in this one. I appreciate that. All right, let's hear from this little guy.
So it was a little hard for me to sift out what happened when. I believe it was on the second day of our holiday that Candace found a tweet of mine from around the time of Charlie's death and used it as a way of alleging that I had some sort of foreknowledge in it.
All right, pause.
The tweet.
I was about to go get some housework.
I know. He does take his sweet time in explaining everything that's going on. But yeah, so she did pull up this tweet of his, and he shows it on the screen, right? Does he? Right there. No, I can just read it. Candace Owens says, "I knew nothing about Josh Hammer's random tweet about public executions the night before Charlie was publicly executed. In what context does that tweet make sense? Literally, WTF." Josh Hammer had said,
well, I know that Charlie Kirk himself was a fan of those, so.
Yeah.
Does that mean Charlie Kirk had something to do with his assassination?
Yeah, it's like it's the timing of this, right? That like has Candace Owens' spidey sense going off, where Donald Trump said, should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast from 2013. And then Josh Hammer shared it.
But he was talking about the Irina Zertuska killing in North Carolina specifically, which was horrible. The woman the Ukrainian woman who's killed on public transit.
Oh, God,
by a mentally distured person. And,
okay, so this is what he brought up on screen. This 40 things.
So within it, you'll see the Donald Trump
should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast. Oh.
Yep, and then
that's 2013.
2013, and so then he reposted it just recently and said based. And then Candace Owens is saying, this is the night before Charlie was murdered. Why would you have shared this? Something else is going on.
To the fucking stabbing.
Yeah.
Right?
Not in Candace Owens' mind.
That makes a lot more sense than saying, hey, Charlie Kirk should die tomorrow.
I know. That's the thing I love about conspiracy theorists is they think that for some reason, the people doing the conspiracy, they have to declare it in secret ways beforehand, or not even secret. They have to declare it in coded ways, but publicly.
Yeah.
Why would he? Why would he do that? It doesn't make. If he was actually involved, what would be the point of that?
My theory is that her feud with Ben Shapiro and why she had to leave the Daily Wire and stuff is now just being applied to this person who is a version of Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And she's just continuing that feud.
Yeah.
1336 is going to be our next clip.
Okay.
Happened to be an unapologetic longtime proponent of the firing squad method of execution and or potentially, in really extreme circumstances, public executions.
Okay, man.
I've said this for years.
All right, there we go.
For a very simple and defense.
No, you see, my defense of myself is I'm fucking awful. Yeah.
I'm a psycho.
Yeah. And I would
Andy's
like people to die in the most
right. You are
way.
And by that, I mean, this is a defense of him.
Yeah. He's
he's right in this interaction with Candace Owens, which I hate.
And the firing
I
squad.
always say fucking disgusting things about public executions. Yeah. And you're like, well, you got me there. That's true.
I'm on the record here. Go back.
So
find
gross.
Yep. You win that point.
So then we're going to skip to 1517 to get a little bit more into Candace implying his involvement.
So Candace Owens takes this and starts to imply that I was foreshadowing
who would watch this?
Charlie Kirk's assassination, because that was a public assassination. So the implication is that I had foreknowledge of, at minimum, and potentially at maximum, was somehow complicit or involved in the murder of my own friend. A murder that I was openly, bitterly weeping over for days.
No. We're almost done.
This definitely needed to be 30 minutes.
The day after the murder, when I was recording my show, the Josh Hammer Show,
that's for sure.
I broke down crying during the recording for the very first time in the history of my show.
All right.
Stop there. It was an history of his life.
Yeah, in his entire life.
I was confused about what it was. I was like, water's coming out of my face. What is this? I don't have emotions because I'm a man.
And then this is our last clip of him. So 1657.
Earlier this week.
You have to be someone that is, or maybe rather someone that is possessed by something that is less than human, subhuman, to do that. There's no humanity in you. That is why I named Josh Hammer.
Josh Hammer.
I believe he is a deeply disturbed man. Filth. Okay? Absolute filth. I don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. Whatever that is that lives in him does not live in me. There was no truth in him. Obviously, there was no truth in Josh Hammer. I know we won't get answers from you, but let me promise you that if I get a text message to the effect that you were somehow involved in him feeling anxiety the day before, if you did something that gave him anxiety in that way, I will release it instantly. There will be no place that you can hide.
You're going to have to decode. I don't know what the fuck she's talking
Filth. Subhuman.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
are you going to explain any of that? Because I don't know what that was.
So, I mean, what it kind of like comes down to, yeah. So there's these group chats. There's a text between Josh Hammer and Charlie Kirk where Charlie Kirk is, they lost a big Jewish donor to Turning Point, about $2 million a year. And so Charlie was feeling like frustrated about that. I was talking with Josh about it, and Candace's position is that Charlie was wanting to step away from pro-Israel policies and things like that, and that's what got him killed, right? And there's just it's silly. It's hard to like pull this all apart because it's just coming from the mind of a crazy person.
Doesn't make any sense. It's not like there's no way that Charlie Kirk was going to become like a defender of Palestinians. Like that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. So
if anything, he might just like not emphasize stuff, and there's no reason you would kill him over that. It's dumb.
Yeah. And then there's actually a Daily Mail piece that came out today because Hammer has said that he's considering suing for defamation because he's talking to lawyers. He's not happy about what Candace Owens is saying. Owens responded to the Daily Mail piece and said, Josh Hammer is lashing out due to embarrassment. He vociferously lied about the state of Charlie's mind toward Israel before his tragic death, and I revealed him. Legal warfare will no longer be used to bury the truth.
I wish them both a very long, expensive, protracted.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah, right after she finished up with the president of France and his wife.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Her lawsuits,
but
nonsense.
I will point out too that Charlie Kirk was that he lost that donor because he would not denounce Tucker Carlson. So just to bring in one more terrible person into the chat. Yeah,
so, exactly.
This is what's going on in the world of horrible people who hate each other.
And I'm with you, Thomas. I hope that they just
who watches this though. Like
pursue legal.
It's one
remedies,
thing when they're
please.
like doing their Nazi shtick, and Nazis are probably like, awesome, I love this, I'm a Nazi. But like when they're just like talking about the drama between them, like who cares?
Yeah.
She did an hour on this. He did a half hour on this.
Maybe they do.
They're not done.
I know.
Like,
I joke.
keep going.
They have infinite more viewers and listeners than we do.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're doing the same thing.
If you could get that beautiful voice going, Thomas. If you could just replicate.
Oh, whoa. Holy shit. Our numbers just went crazy. Through the roof.
Wow. We got,
man.
So Lydia can turn to Jake Tapper and you can turn to Josh Hammer.
Feelings are bad. And when people are, people are mean to you, it's good because your feelings are bad. Oh, my God. What?
Oh, my God.
$1 million just came through my door, just right away. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
No, it's you have to sell out to the billionaires and the far right to get that money, and we are not yet willing to do that.
But this is very much like this, like Candace Owens at the foot of like Christianity, evangelical Christianity, and then Josh Hammer at the foot of like very very intense Judaism, and this kind of war of religion. I think ultimately is what this is coming down to in this particular instance.
Yes.
So
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I might defend religion in whatever the hell you're talking about. I don't think it has anything to do with the nonsense from these idiots.
Oh, no, I think
conspiracy theory nonsense.
Yes, but conspiracy theory that is laid on top of religion. And I mean, Josh Hammer talked about it at the beginning of his video. We didn't get into it, but he said that, Candace Owens released this video right when he was shutting down his phone for 50 hours in observing a Jewish holiday, so he wouldn't be able to like engage. And so there's a little bit of conspiracy theory stuff kind of happening from both ends of things.
Obviously, Candace Owens really is losing it, like beyond where she was. Like she's become a rabid anti-Semite, and of course he is a rabid Israel supporter, as noted. Again, we've noted before the books behind him, his one book.
Yeah,
he's. So, obviously we're not cheering for either of these people. This is really truly Alien v. Predator.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess he needs to also consider when he's looking at defamation that he also names all the things that she has left, that she has, not been able to stick with or whatever. And now that she's seemingly like a mental patient, I think is what he says at one point, and that's not a great look. But
but it's hyperbole, so he's covered there.
Yes.
Or is it? I don't know. I guess it's a claim about actual, in the countersuit. We'll see. We'll follow it.
We will. That'd be a fun gabble gabble.
Oh no, we still need to get to the what am I thinking of?
Laura Loomer, Bill Maher.
God, yeah. We gotta get to that. I want to do that.
It's our next one.
Maybe. All right. Wait, are we done? Did we get through?
We are done.
That's all right. Well, that was fun.
Yes.
These people all fucking suck.
Yes.
That was our theme. These people fucking suck.
Yeah.
And are liars. I don't even think they're not getting it, Matt. I disagree with your interpretation. They're lying.
But they're willfully not getting it. That was my point.
They understand lying, and they understand it fully, and they go into it with open eyes, and they know they're
intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
And they've made a career. All these people have made a career out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That exact thing.
And it pays, and they got huge audiences. They're doing better than us, and they've taken over the country, everybody. So support media that doesn't suck. Patreon.com/law. Thank you so much. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you.
Thanks, listeners and top patrons. So glad to do the shout outs again. So make sure to get your new names in before next, week. Safe Monday to be safe, probably.
Yeah, Monday.
And then we'll do those shout outs again. They're so fun. If you want to get at the shout out level, you got to go to that Hall of Fame level on patreon.com/law. All right. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that'll do it.
So long. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Or later. Watching. I assume people had the video on with their eyes closed and they're just listening to it.